Stumbled upon this very popular Nollywood actress come producer. She's known for being the pioneer of Nollywood YouTube channels. And I'm wondering, since you've been in this space for the longest time, your movies hit 1 million views, 2 million views. Since I'm not shouting again, I'm calm. I want to ask, I'm trying to understand how is it that the quality of your movies is deteriorating, being that you are in the space where you can actually do better.
Hi guys, welcome back to MomoTV. Imagine you are watching a Nollywood TV, and instead of watching and enjoying it, you come online and say it gives you headache. Now imagine that story belongs to Ruth Kadiri, and instead of ignoring you, she claps back. And not clapping back alone, but with her sister, Fresh Card, stepping in too. And just like that, a simple comment turned into a full-blown drama. But here is where it gets more interesting, because this wasn't just about one's opinion. It opened up bigger conversations about Ruth Kadiri's movies, her production style, and whether the criticism is actually valid. And today on MomoTV, we are breaking everything down. But before we go into what she said, why the internet was divided, let's talk about Ruth Kadiri's journey in Nollywood. Ruth Kadiri didn't just appear out of nowhere. She actually earned her place in Nollywood long before YouTube dominance. Ruth Kadiri started out in a traditional way, building her name through acting. She studied mass communication and later sharpened her storytelling skills by writing scripts. In fact, before many people took her seriously as a producer, she was already working behind the scene, writing and developing stories for Nollywood films. Then came a breakout era in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. Movies like Boycotts and The Art of a Fighter helped to establish a strong screen presence, especially emotional, relationship-driven roles, and that became her signature. Ruth mastered a specific kind of storytelling, like real-life situations, family drama, love, betrayal, and sacrifice. The kind of stories that everyday Nigerians could relate to instantly. But the real turning point was when she made a strategic shift to YouTube. While many actors were chasing cinema release and TV deals, Ruth saw the power of digital early. She built her own platform, controlled her content, and most importantly, she stayed consistent. That consistency is what turned her into one of the most recognizable producers on Nollywood YouTube today. So when people criticize her work, they are not just talking about a random filmmaker. They are talking about someone who has spent years in building a brand, understanding an audience, and creating a system that clearly delivers results. Which makes the Black Clash even more interesting, because now the question isn't about her journey, it is about her current output. As Ruth Kadiri becomes too comfortable with the formula that works, or her critics simply just overlooking the strategy behind her success. Let's get into what people are saying exactly and why the conversation is getting so heated. A social media critic known as Chummy took things to another level. Instead of saying, "I don't like the movie," she boldly claimed that Ruth Kadiri films are so repetitive and exhausting that they gave her headache. And of course, the internet did what it knows how to do best.
Stumbled upon this very popular Nollywood actress come producer. She's known for being the pioneer of Nollywood YouTube channels. And I'm wondering, since you've been in this space for the longest time, your movies hit 1 million views, 2 million views. Since I'm not shouting again, I'm calm. I want to ask, I'm trying to understand how is it that the quality of your movies is deteriorating, being that you are in the space where you can actually do better, being that you are technically the face of the Nollywood YouTube space. Her stories are always weak. The performance here, it is very lackadaisical. She doesn't match actors to characters. She matches actors based off of her preference, based off of her relationship with said actors, hence why her movies tend to suffer, in case you didn't know where the disconnect was coming from. At this point in time, we are tired and we are telling you to please give us good quality movies. It is time. Why? Because you are getting the views. Why? Because you have the audience. Why? Because if you open YouTube, your movie is one of the first ones that will pop up. People will now watch it. Me especially, I am the people. I will now watch it and start having migraine. Why? It will feel as if there's like an elephant on top of my brain. Why? And this is what, how many years now since COVID? Because you blew up crazy during COVID. Yes, you understand what kind of movies you're making during COVID. You had to constrict and there were limitations. You were constricted. Is that the English? Is it constricted? You shall understand. Restricted. That's him constricted. You are shy restricted. But we've passed COVID. It's like 3 years late. What am I saying? 6 years later, and you're still giving us half-assed projects. Weak plots, underdeveloped character, no depth, the surface acting. Stop this thing you're doing. And the worst part about this particular producer is that she feels, she feels like she's doing us a favor. She's like, how dare you? My movie is on. No, ma, no. I understand, because sometimes, there's something called fat blindness. There's some people that if they gain weight, they will never see it. In the mirror, they are seeing a size 8. But in real life, they're like a size 18. I think that's what's doing this particular producer. Because I doubt she understands how terrible her films are. There's no way you will be defending that thing. Back to back to back to back, even fighting with critics back to back to back to back over films that lack any form of inspiration, over film that lacks any form of awe factor. Do you understand? Nollywood YouTube space here, the demand will always be high. As competitive as it is, the demand will always be high. I'm waiting now. I'm waiting for one particular person to drop a film. If you know how many movies I've lined up to watch, I cannot bring myself to watch it because I watched this particular producer's film and my brain went into hibernation. This is me stating facts. So please, for the sake of the love of God, develop your stories. Have your audience at heart. Pity us. You understand? The economy is already your own. Let's escape in your art, in your project. Since you have maths to be running, to be show workings. Let's see. Her last film, it was terrible. The way the scenes were unnecessarily stretched leaves you to wonder, are they deliberately doing this thing? Are they trying to annoy me? Then how they will just import another plot to just insert in a story? A plot that was not initiated from the beginning of the film. No form of creativity in any way, shape or form. It is insane. So please do better. You can do it. That's what I'm saying. You should do better. It's about time. The rest of YouTube, we started it. People are jealous. People not join because of you. Show workings now. Because at this time, you're falling short, my darling. Like, it's bad. Thank you very much for watching. I should really appreciate it.
It speaks sides instantly. And once she said that, it eats differently, because calling a movie not your taste is normal, but saying it gives you headache, that felt personal. Almost like she wasn't just criticizing the film, but she was dismissing the whole entire bodywork of the film. And that was why the reaction was instant. Fans of Ruth Kadiri didn't just disagree, they pushed back hard. Some were like, if it is that bad, why are you still watching? Millions of people enjoy our movies, so what are you saying? Consistency is not easy. Put some respect on it. But at the same time, there was a quiet group that quickly understood where Chummy was coming from. Not the headache part, but the deeper message behind it. Because if you look closely, this isn't the first time people have said Ruth Kadiri's movies feel repetitive. Some emotional structure, similar characters arc, predictable endings. And for some viewers, that familiarity is comfort. But for some others, it feels like too much of same thing. So the conversation has shifted from just one critique opinion to a bigger questions about Nollywood itself. Is consistency becoming repetition? And should actors like Ruth Kadiri evolve or stay in their winning lane? Because clearly, this isn't about headache anymore. And when it felt like the conversation was getting out of hand and people were arguing back and forth about opinion, taste, and standard, that was when she stepped in. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just noise anymore. It was her work being called out publicly, and she wasn't about to ignore it. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Ruth Kadiri didn't just go silent. She didn't pretend not to see it. She responded and said, "Thank you for watching. After the headache, take Panadol. You will be fine. Or better still, watch what you are comfortable with. The producer cannot please everyone." She reminded everyone that filmmaking is not easy. From scripting to shooting to editing, it is blood, sweat, and sleepless nights. Reducing all that to "it gives me headache," yes, she wasn't having it. And when it looked like the situation might settle down, like maybe the message had already been sent out clearly enough, that was when things escalated again. Because the conversation didn't stop with Ruth's response. It multiplied, and this time, the real hit came when her sister stepped in. Freshcard didn't just defend Ruth, she went all in. We are talking about direct energy, no sugarcoating, no diplomacy. She basically called out the critic for clout chasing and trying to trend off someone else's hard work. And that was the point. It stopped being a simple opinion, it became personal. And once that response dropped online, the internet does what it knows how to do best. It didn't stay neutral for a second. Now you already know that's how Nigeria's social media behaves. People split into camps immediately. Team Ruth, respect her hustle. If you don't like it, don't watch. And Team Chummy, criticism is allowed, not just every movie is perfect. And honestly, both sides have a point, because here is the truth, and that's exactly where the tension sits. Because once you strip away the emotions, the side, and the online noise, you are left with something much more bigger than just one critic or one female camp. Where do we draw the line between honest criticism and disrespect? Because on one side, viewers are demanding better storytelling, better production, and more creativity from the Nollywood. But on the other side, you have got creators like Ruth Kadiri operating under pressure, trying to stay consistent, stay relevant, and still meet an audience that consumes content faster than ever. And somewhere in between all of that is where this entire debate is happening, and that is where it gets more personal, because not all criticism lands the same way. Because saying the movie isn't for me is one thing, saying the movie gives me headache, that's it differently, especially when you consider the efforts behind the production. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about one comment or one movie anymore. It is about how we talk to creators and how far is too far when it comes to criticism online. So I'm asking you, was Chummy just being honest, or was that comment out of line? And did Ruth Kadiri's and Fresh Card overreact, or did they just simply stand up for their work? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is bigger than one movie. It is about respect, criticism, and the future of Nollywood storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.